Hi everyone, welcome back to online classes. I am Christopher. So we are discussing 10th physics chapter structure of atom. In the previous classes we have discussed electromagnetic spectrum and its characteristics and VIBGR, visible spectrum, wavelengths, which color has high wavelength, which color has low wavelength, which color has high energy, which color has low energy. This all the details we have discussed in the previous class. So in this class let us discuss part 3, 10th physics structure of atom, part 3, Bohr's model of hydrogen atom and its limitations. So what is Bohr's model and what are the limitations? What he proposed about the atomic spectrum. So let us discuss in this class. So first of all we have to observe the figure, the spectrum of hydrogen atom. So let us examine the spectrum of hydrogen atom. Those who have textbook, watch the textbook and examine what is there, what are the spectral lines. Let us see. So here in the figure we can observe there are 4 spectral lines. What is that spectral lines? So what information the spectral lines giving us? Let us see. So here one question is there. So what does a line spectrum tell us about the structure of an atom? So that lines, which information they are providing? So what Niels Bohr proposed? Let us see. Niels Bohr proposed that electrons in an atom occupy stationary orbits, also called states, of fixed energy at different distances from the nucleus. So according to Bohr, electrons occupy different stationary orbits. So from the nucleus, this is the nucleus, center of the atom is the nucleus. From this center of the nucleus, from this center, that means from the nucleus, at different distances, different shells are present. These shells are called energy levels. So each shell has different energy. So electrons will occupy in these shells. So if you observe these shells, so this is the center of the atom. Protons are present in the nucleus. If you go away from the nucleus, there are shells. So each shell has a different energy. So which shell has more energy, which shell has less energy. So when the shell is moving away from the nucleus, it has high energy. This is low energy. Okay. So this is shell 1, 2, 3, 4. So shell which is away from the nucleus has more energy. The shell which is closer to the nucleus has less energy. This is the first shell, has less energy, and this one high energy. So what happens when electrons jumps from one shell to another shell? So when they will jump, so electrons when they gain energy, they will jump from one shell to lower energy to higher energy. Lower energy shell to higher energy shell. To jump from lower energy shell to higher energy shell, electrons gain energy. So this lower energy shell is called ground state. What is that? Ground state. So electrons gain energy in the ground state and they will jump into higher energy shell. That higher energy shell is called excited state. Excited state. That means when the electrons gain energy, they will jump from ground state to excited state. See the textbook once. The energies of an electron in an atom can have only certain values, E1, E2, E3 and so on. That is, the energy is quantized. The states corresponding to these energies are called stationary states, and the possible values of the energy are called energy levels. So what are the energy levels? These are the energy levels E1, E2, E3 and so on. So these are also called energy states. Okay. So now the lowest energy state of the electron is known as ground state. So in the ground state, the energy level has lowest energy, and excited state, that means the next level, has more energy. So what happens when electron gain energy? It jumps from ground state to excited state. So after jumping into the excited state, what happens? Here one more question is there. Does the electron retain the energy forever? Retain means what? Does the electron holds that whatever the observed energy forever? Means no, it cannot hold that energy. It loses energy again. So see the textbook once. The electron loses the energy and comes back to its ground state. The energy emitted by the electron is seen in the form of electromagnetic energy, and when the wavelength is in the visible region, it is visible as an emission line. So these lines are that. So if you observe the hydrogen spectrum, we are able to see some lines. What is that lines? So when the electrons losing energy, when they loses energy, they will come back to excited state to ground state. During that, they emits energy. So this emission energy appears as a lines. Electromagnetic energy appears as a emission lines. So Bohr's model explains all the line spectra observed in the case of hydrogen atom. So it is a successful model as far as line spectra of hydrogen atom is concerned. So this Bohr's model is a successful model for hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom. So the remaining atoms, Bohr's model unable to explain. So what are the limitations of Bohr's model? But the line spectrum of hydrogen atom, when observed through a high resolution spectroscope, appears as a group of fine lines. So when you observe with a high resolution spectroscope, so here spectral lines, fine spectral lines is observed. So what is that fine spectral lines? Bohr's model failed to account for splitting of line spectra. So this splitting of line spectra, Bohr's model failed to explain, unable to explain. So these are the limitations of Bohr's model. You can underline Bohr's model failed to account for splitting of line spectra. So to modify this, another model came forward, that is Bohr-Sommerfeld model of an atom. Bohr-Sommerfeld model of an atom. Bohr-Sommerfeld model. You can simply call Bohr-Sommerfeld model of an atom. So to rectify the limitations of Bohr's model, Sommerfeld came forward and he suggested elliptical orbits to the each shell, each energy level. So he suggested some elliptical orbits. How it is? Let us see. So if you observe the textbook figure 4. So what is this elliptical orbits? So splitting of spectral lines. Already hydrogen spectrum, if you observe, there is a spectral lines. So this spectral lines again splitting into fine spectra. Splitting of line spectra is known as fine spectra. You have to remember this. Line spectra. Splitting of line spectra. So spectra is a plural form for spectrum. Splitting of line spectra is known as fine spectra. Fine spectra you can call. So in order to modify Bohr's model, Sommerfeld suggested some elliptical orbits. So it is like this. You can observe the figure 4. Sommerfeld modified Bohr's atomic model by adding elliptical orbits. So while retaining the first orbit of Bohr's model, while retaining the first of Bohr's circular orbit as such, he added one elliptical orbit to Bohr's second orbit. So first orbit as it is, there is no elliptical orbits for the first shell. And the second shell he added one elliptical orbit. You can also observe this, n is equal to 1, l is equal to 0. That is the main shell, first shell. There is no elliptical orbits. N is equal to 2, l is equal to 0, l is equal to 1. One elliptical orbit is there. So n is equal to 3, l is equal to 0. So l is equal to 1, l is equal to 2. That means 2 elliptical orbits are there. So like that, next shell has a third, 3 elliptical orbits are there. So he was guided by the fact that in general, periodic motion under the influence of a central force will lead to elliptical orbits with a force situated at one of the foci. So two focal points, two centers in the elliptical orbits. In any one center, this nucleus will present. Bohr-Sommerfeld model, though successful in accounting for the line structure of hydrogen atomic spectra, does not provide a satisfactory picture of the structure of an atom in general. So this Bohr-Sommerfeld model is a successful model for the hydrogen atomic spectrum, but it is failed to give a general structure for all the atoms. So this model failed to account for the atomic spectra of atoms of more than one electron. So only one electron present in their atom. So it is successful model for that. More than one electron, it is not successful to explain the structure of the atom. So why is the electron in an atom restricted to revolve around the nucleus at certain fixed distances? So let us see. Next model, quantum mechanical model of an atom. Next model, quantum mechanical model of an atom. Quantum mechanical model of an atom. Quantum mechanical model of an atom. So Max Carl Ernst Ludwig Planck was a German theoretical physicist who originated quantum theory. So which won him the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1918. Planck made many contributions to theoretical physics, but his fame rests primarily on his role as originator of quantum theory. This theory revolutionized human understanding of atomic and subatomic processes. So Max Planck quantum theory is very popular. For that, he got Nobel Prize. So he contributed so many contributions to the physics, but this is a very well-known, revolutionized in physics, this contribution, quantum theory. So for that he got Nobel Prize. So let us discuss quantum mechanical model of an atom. Quantum mechanical model of an atom. So now we have a question. Do the electrons follow defined paths around the nucleus? As Bohr suggested, do the electrons really follow the defined paths around the nucleus? If the electron revolves around the nucleus in definite paths or orbits, the exact position of the electron at various times will be known. For that, we have to answer two questions. So, if really the electrons following definite paths around the nucleus, for example, every day morning people go for walk, evening and morning. So, they round around the park. So, this is the center of the atom. For example, electrons are revolving around the atom. So, if the electrons are following a definite paths, we have to know two things. What is that? First one, what is the velocity of the electron? That means what is the speed of the electron? Velocity. What is the velocity of the electron? And second question is it possible to find the exact position of the electron? So, every time it is revolving around the nucleus, that means there is a scope to find the position of the electron. So, is it possible to find the position of the exact position of the electron at a particular point? Electrons are very small. It's not visible. It's very small, unable to see with a naked eye. Then how it is possible to find its velocity and the position of the electrons? Electrons are invisible to naked eye. Then how do you find the position and velocity of an electron? So, to find articles during the night time, what you will do? You will use a torchlight. So, by using torchlight, we can find the things in the darkness. So, like that, to find the electrons, we have to use a particular light. So, that light wavelength also corresponds to the size of the electrons. So, when you use that light corresponds to the size of the electrons, so we can observe the position and velocity. So, those who have textbook, please open and watch. To find the articles during dark nights, we take the help of torchlight. Similarly, we can take the help of suitable light to find the position and velocity of an electron. As the electrons are very small, light of very short wavelength is required for this task. So, we know that light of very short wavelength, what happens? It has a high energy. This short wavelength light interacts with the electron and disturbs the motion of the electron. Already electron is revolving around the nucleus. So, when you use a high energy light, that means a short wavelength light, so that light fall on the electron and disturbs the motion of the electron. That means it will jump into another level. So, we cannot find its position and velocity at the same time. If you find the position, you cannot find the velocity. Okay, if you find the velocity, you cannot find the position of the electron. So, both it's not possible to find at the same time because of electrons are very small. So, now from the above discussion, it is clear that electrons do not follow definite paths in an atom. So, from this we can say that electrons do not follow definite paths. Do atoms have a definite boundary as suggested by Bohr's model? So, Bohr suggested definite boundaries. So, really, do atoms have a definite boundaries? If the electrons are not distributed in orbits around the nucleus, this means that an atom does not have a definite boundary. If the electrons are not distributed in orbits around the nucleus, this means that an atom does not have a definite boundary. So, if the electrons are not distributed around the nucleus, that means electrons do not follow the boundaries. As a result, it is not possible to pinpoint an electron in an atom. So, we cannot pinpoint the electron in an atom at a particular position. We cannot pinpoint the electron in an atom. So under these circumstances, in order to understand the properties of electrons in an atom, a quantum mechanical model of an atom was developed by Erwin Schrödinger. So why is that? Erwin Schrödinger. So quantum mechanical model developed by Erwin Schrödinger. Erwin Schrödinger. Quantum mechanical model was developed by Erwin Schrödinger. According to this model of an atom, instead of orbits of Bohr's model, the electrons are thought to exist in a particular region of space around the nucleus at a given instant of time. So Bohr suggested that boundaries, paths, states. So but mechanical model is a quantum mechanical model suggested that it's a regions. It's not a boundaries, it's not a paths. So it is a regions. At a particular time around the nucleus in a certain region, electrons will present in an atom. So what is this region around the nucleus? That is called orbital. What is that? Orbital. Orbital. So what is orbital? Let us see the definition. The region of space around the nucleus where the probability of finding the electron is maximum is called an orbital. So what is orbital? Orbital is a region of space. Region of space around the nucleus. Around the nucleus, a certain region, three-dimensional region. So in that, any point, the electrons will present. So the probability of finding electrons is maximum. That region is called orbital. So you can underline the definition in textbook is there. The region of space around the nucleus where the probability of finding the electron is maximum is called an orbital. So in a given space around the nucleus, only certain orbitals can exist. How many orbitals can exist? In a given space, only certain orbitals can exist in an atom. Each orbital of a stable energy state for the electron is described by a particular set of quantum numbers. So each orbital has a certain quantum numbers. What is that quantum numbers and what information the quantum numbers will give? So what is quantum numbers? Let us discuss in the next class. So my dear children, I think you have understand. So from this I am giving 5 questions for home task. So complete the home task. First question, what happens when an electron gains energy? What happens when an electron gains energy? And second question, what are the limitations of Bohr's atomic model? Limitations of Bohr's atomic model. Third question, what is fine spectra? What is fine spectra? Fourth question, who proposed quantum mechanical model? Who proposed quantum mechanical model? And fifth question, what is an orbital? So you have to write the definition for the orbital. Okay, we will meet again in the next class. Everybody have to submit the homework. I will send the link so you can write the homework there itself. Thank you. We will meet again in the next class.